G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to be watching the greatest sport in the world, rugby. This is the Rugby World Cup warm-up match, and with selections on the line for the Irish team, and I don't know what's on the line for the English team, but yeah, this was, again, another horrendous performance by the English side. The only interesting thing about this game, ironically, are the players who are not actually playing the game with regarding to Johnny Sexton and Owen Farrell, right? So let's start with Owen Farrell. He obviously had that red card rescinded by old mates from Australia, and he is available to play this weekend in front of his dad, you know, in the Irish coaching box. But Steve Borthwick, oh no, you're not gonna play in front of your dad. So Borthwick has made the smart decision of not putting Owen Farrell out in front of the Irish crowd and get booed in front of his daddy, right? So he saved him for that embarrassment. But hey, whoa, I think the Owen Farrell would be grateful that he wasn't on the field, because, you know, getting booed out of the stadium would be probably more interesting for the fans to be watching than the English performance today. You know, there's a lot of discussions about who should be the fly half for England. I really feel like Marcus Smith should probably be the 10. And that's not because I'm Asian and Marcus Smith is half Asian or quarter Asian or whatever he is. No, okay? It's not that. It's the fact that, really, George Ford and Owen Farrell hasn't really made anything happen for the English team in terms of their attack. Like this week, once again, England really looked like they didn't know. Like, I can't tell you what the English team was trying to do. Trying to do the score, okay? Other than trying to kick 3 points. And ironically, Owen Farrell is the better kicker over George Ford, who missed one that's pretty much right in front today. I don't know what the English team would even, like, what do they even do? Just, like, I don't even know if the players knew how to score tries, to be honest. The only try that was scored at the end of the game with Sinclair was literally, like, brute forced through by Sinclair to score that try for the England team. And really, like, what do they do? Like, they get the ball. It's almost like they didn't want to play with any rugby. They get the ball, just kick it away. Get the ball, kick it away. And I don't know how you're going to win any test matches. I don't even know how you're going to actually practice playing rugby without the ball, right? How do you even know what to do without the ball? Like, you don't even get any chance for your own team to practice the set piece. It just immediately kicks it away, right? It was just really, really embarrassing. I don't know what you're gonna do. I mean, Argentina's definitely gonna beat you. I don't know if you actually. I mean, Japan's not looking that good at the moment, but hey, they're probably gonna get England a run for their money. Looking at the current performances of the England side, there was a few really glaring big issues with the England side. Freddie Stewart's defense, really bad. I noticed today, I don't know if it's a consistent issue. I did feel like his tackling has been a bit off, but I've always given him the pass because, you know, he's always in the difficult position to make a tackle, like, you know, one-on-one with a lot of space to cover. But today, he got stepped twice by Mac Hansen, I think it was. Mac Hansen, at least one time, he got stepped inside a couple times for 2 tries. I think it was, yeah, Gary Ringrose stepped him and Mac Hansen stepped him. So he missed just a really bad defense from his part. And the other big issue for England side is Will Stewart at a tight head position. Don't think he will be starting for England. Sinclair would definitely be the dead starter for him, for England side. But again, if he comes off the bench, his defense is not good and his scrummaging is not that good either. So I don't know how you're going to solve that. And finally, this is the stupidest thing I have ever seen, okay? Not even schoolboys, okay, would have done this. This is so bad. Like, probably the worst thing I've ever seen in, like, stupid, like, the worst piece of play I've ever seen in rugby today, okay? And I'm pretty sure this was Ben Young's. And correct me if I'm wrong, if this was Danny Kerr that was on the field, because the players were swapped out at this point, and I didn't really get the number when this happened. So there was a point, 56 minutes into the game, England was doing a maul around the 50-meter mark. The maul gets pushed near the sideline, he collapses, and the referee puts a flag up, and you think that is because the maul went out, right? The replay showed that what is his name? Jamie George, right? Jamie George, yeah, his name's Jamie George. Jamie George was he fell down after the ball was getting pushed out. Very close to the try line, but it was not out. And he released the ball back for the halfback to pick the ball up. And I'm pretty sure it was, I actually don't know. It's I think it was Danny Kerr actually. The halfback from England side runs in, steps on the sideline, and picks the ball up. And that's why the referee put the flag up. Not because the ball went out, because the halfback literally stood on the sideline when he picked the ball up. I have never seen this bad before, okay? And the commentary was like, oh, that's a schoolboy error. I mean, schoolboys wouldn't even do that. That is, like that. The only people who do that are like toddlers who has no concept of what's in and out. That's the only people who would do it. Are toddlers without the concept of what the line actually means, what the boundary line actually means, would do that. Okay? There's no way any teenager will actually do that. It's so preposterously bad. It was just embarrassing. I could not believe my eyes when I saw that. And so, yeah, that was England side. Irish team, again, very clunky this game. And again, the big talking point of Ireland side is Johnny Sexton. Without Johnny Sexton, is Ireland going to make out of the pool? So Johnny Sexton hasn't played since 19th of March this year. So it's going to be 6 months, just about 6 months, going into the Rugby World Cup. And he hasn't played any club rugby. He hasn't played any test match rugby. And I think there is a, what do they call it? Unsanctioned match that he's playing in, or he has played in recent times. That's probably the, I'm sure he's keeping fit, but, we saw today, just a few months off for these professional players, how rusty they are, right? I mean, for 6 months off at Johnny Sexton at his age, I just don't know how he's going to come back in the Rugby World Cup. Like, is he going to perform? Luckily, they have an easy start to the World Cup. They're not facing the South Africans and the Scottish to the end of the rounds. So he's got a couple games built into that. But I mean, I don't know how that's going to go. And if you look at the list of Irish fly halves, who's the next in line, right? So we've got Ross Byrne is currently looking like the replacement of Johnny Sexton because they play in the same club. And Ross Byrne is has done pretty well for Ireland, filling in for Sexton in recent times. But he showed his goal kicking today, not that great. And also he shot a lot of rust today. So yeah, not really sure if he's still the premier pick for the Irish team without Johnny Sexton. And then the next runner-up, obviously, Jack Crowley, in my opinion, probably should be the next in line for Johnny Sexton, because Jack Crowley do play for Munster, who won the URC, and Jack Crowley landed his goal kick today, and also Ireland, I did feel like look a little bit better, a little bit more crisp with Jack Crowley on the field in the second half. Obviously, we got Joey Carberry, who's completely out of the contentions. His reserves, he's literally the reserve now at Leinster. He's behind Ross Byrne. Obviously, Sexton is number one at Leinster. He's behind Ross Byrne, and he's just completely fallen out of favour. He has been given his time like 2 years ago in the Six Nations. He just really hasn't delivered for the Irish team. But his goal kicking is quite decent. So if goal kicking becomes an issue with Ross Byrne, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna bring three halfbacks. I mean, three fly halves. They might, because of Johnny Sexton, how fragile he is. They actually might bring three. But it's probably just gonna be Crowley and Byrne. And then everybody still remembers the greatest Irish Irish, fly half ever, Billy Burns. Billy is still, waiting on that fifth spot for a potential call-up for the Irish fly half position. So that is a very big conundrum for Andy Farrell when it comes to the selections. I mean, surely he's going to have to pick Crowley, and he's not going to just take two fly halves to the World Cup. Ross Byrne, I think he can cover multiple positions, so he can be a utility player. So it just comes down to, if Sexton is not good for whatever reason, is it going to be Crowley or is it going to be Byrne to the start? Ross Byrne to start. And I think Crowley probably the answer for the Ireland team based on the performance today. And yeah, so with that being said, overall the Irish team was a bit clunky in the first half, looked a lot better in the second half. And I do think that without like a leadership role out of the 10 position that directs traffic, plans the attacking structure ahead of time, The players, especially the halfback, very used to getting told where the ball should be going. Creating that fast ball without that leadership, that voice of Johnny Sexton out of the 10 position. The Irish team look very clunky. Like they look lost at times on the field. The match stats: Ireland team 5 tries to 1, 440 run meters to England's 400. I'm surprised England had 482 run meters. I thought they would just be kicking, right? But that is apparently the stats. The turnovers conceded: 12 against Ireland, 15 against England. Very poor for England once again. Ireland was very rusty at the breakdown as well. English was able to turn over, cause a bit of an issue there to break down for the Irish team. They probably have to look at that in training throughout the weeks. Tackle count: 120 tackles for Ireland, 111 for England. 19 missed tackles, world class, just under 10%. And then, not just on 10%, a bit over 10%. Like what is it? Like 18%, 15% or so. England 24 missed tackles. Both team probably wanted that missed tackle count to be a little bit lower for international tests. Especially you when the oppositions are not that good at breaking your breaking your defensive line. You really wanted that 19 to be close to the 10 mark, especially for Ireland. Kicks, you play a lot of kicking for both teams. 32 for Ireland, 27 for England. At halftime, the kicking was already through the roof. There was 15 kicks for Ireland and 18 kicks for England. Again, England, for the Irish, the kicking game was more like just kind of like a retaliation for the England team, because the English kicking was really bad. A lot of times just punted straight down the field into the 22. Just basically like, it was like, hey, Freddie Stewart, just kick as fast as you can, mate, and see what happens. And he just, put a big bomb into the 22 from inside his own half. Like, that's that sort of thing. Like, really, really, really bad. Uncontestable kicks, all right? That's the key words. And then as a result, the Irish was like, all right, we're just going to punt it back to you and see what happens. This is a thing that's the issue. 3 missed conversions for Ireland, and then 1 for penalty miss for George Ford, which was right in front. Should have got that. Lineouts, 3 loss for Ireland. Again, that's something that you definitely don't want. Like, there was, it looked like miscommunication issues. There was lineouts being overthrown, and there was lineouts thrown not straight. So both timing issues and technical issues from the hooker, with Dan Sheehan limped off the field today, also looking a bit concerning. Because Rob Heron is, his lineout's definitely not as crisp as Dan Sheehan. Hopefully he's gonna be okay. He looked like he was fine. Like, he just probably had a bit of a knock. I think it's not something that's major. He should be able to be. He should be fine after a bit of icing. There's 1 scrum loss. I did think that the scrummaging, it looked like the English scrum, like Will Stewart, was under a lot of pressure for the whole duration of the first half. The referee was a bit 50-50 on some of the calls, but I did feel like the Irish was overwhelmingly dominant, especially Andrew Porter over the Will Stewart. Obviously, 10 penalties against Ireland, 13 against England, 1 red card against Billy Vanapola. Unfortunately for Billy, nobody else was involved in this high shot he put on Andrew Porter. Therefore, yes, it was unmitigated hit, and Billy also did not wrap his arm. So it was just a straight up shoulder charge to the head. Red card. He's going to get a few weeks off for sure. And and then the camera cut to Owen Farrell, and he gets a massive boo around the stadium as this red card was issued. So yeah, that was very good for the cameraman to pick him out of the crowd. So the goes through some of the key moments of the match. 8 minutes into the game, the Irish team was happy to run the ball from their own half. Essentially, they spread the ball out wide to the left hand side, finding some space, and then swing the ball back in field. There was a nice little 1-2 punch, essentially, with Josie van der Fleet, short ball to who was it? To Peter Armani, and the Peter Armani runs through a nice little gap through Will Stewart, obviously, the tight end prop, who's really poor defense there, runs straight through him, and then he links up with Bundy Aki, goes in for the first try for the Irish team, and then England gets a penalty a bit later on. England actually gets a penalty first. Again, you get a penalty 3 minutes into the game in a trial match. Instead of going for the lineouts, work on your set piece, work on your attack structure, they go for the 3 points. Yes, in a in a trial match going to the Rugby World Cup, they're gonna give George Ford some kicking practice here. So again, I don't know how they're gonna score points outside of kicking for 3. I mean, it's if this is what you prepare for going to the Rugby World Cup, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a team that's just gonna be constantly trying to milk for penalties and not be able to score tries. Right? That's you practice with this, and this is what you're gonna get. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. They kicked for 3 there. So the first half was actually really rusty for both teams. There was a lot of scrum resets all the way to about just before the end of the second scrum. There was a lot of just like I've wrote here, a lot of just like back and forth kicks down the field for both teams. No one was pressuring, like low pressure, uncontestable kicks straight down the center of the field, and then just for the other team to boot it right back. There was a lot of scrum resets. Really, like both team was really really not looking interested to play any rugby. 35 minutes into the game, one of the Irish players got taken out in the air. They got a penalty. Ireland builds into the England half, and the English defense just starting to really fall apart at this part, getting stretched. There was so Hugo Keenan made a little ice break, and then he just immediately, set the ball, little offload, and then Ireland gets the front foot momentum, quick balls at the breakdown, and then the ball gets all the way spread out to the left hand side to the fastest winger in the Irish team, Peter O'Mahony. He goes in down the sideline. He gets gets close, and the ball swing all the way from the left hand side of the field back to the right hand side. So Gary Ringrose stabs Freddie Stewart, goes in for the second try for Ireland just for half time. Ross Byrne misses this conversion, so halftime score 12 points to 3. Second half, he takes second half, Ireland gets an early penalty, and then they go for the maul, and England actually did really well, smothering the maul. So that was quite a good defense from him. There was a scrum penalty for Ireland, 46 after this maul. I thought that was a bit weird. It looked like Ty Furlong collapsed under the weight, and I think Sinclair was on the field at this point as well. But the referee said Ireland won the scrum, so Ireland gets another opportunity here to play. But eventually this didn't know. Yeah, so Ireland gets out of jail for this, I think. But anyway, a few minutes later, 53 minutes, Billy Vunipola puts a high shot on Andrew Porter. No mitigation, gets sent off, red card. And then immediately following this red card, Ireland gets himself, in the good attacking position. They put some pressure on England team, and then just again used the full width of the field, stretching England left and right. And England was over committing in the tackles. A lot of these tackles don't need to have put 2 players in them, but because the English defense was so poorly structured, people were just 2-3 players are running into making tackle on the 7 players, and eventually too much space out wide. Over the top ball from Byrne to James Lowe into the corner for the third try for Ireland, 17 points to 3. 64 minutes into the game, Ireland gets another penalty. They go for a line out. The line out gets and then the line out gets kind of stopped. Ireland start pick and go, and then gets penalty advantage for offside. The English player gives away multiple penalty advantages offside here, and eventually the ball comes out to Byrne again over the top to Mac. It's Mac Hansen this time. It's James Lowe last time. Anyway, James Lowe scored last try actually. Mac Hansen this time into the corner, and Mac Hansen again exactly what Ringrose did in the first half. Steps off his right foot. Steps Freddie Stewart, who again misses his tackle, wildly misses his tackle, goes in for the 4th try for Ireland. 72 minutes into the game, England finally gets their first try on the board. They got a penalty, and it was just looking like what they're gonna do. Danny Kerr decides to take a quick tap, and then he got really close to the try line, and then some forward momentum. England forwards pick and go. Kyle Sinclair brute force muscles through for the first try for England. 22 points to 10. And then immediately after this try was scored, Ireland got themselves back in the front foot, putting a lot of pressure on England team. There was a long ball over the top to Keith Earls for his 100th test cap. He jumps into the corner, does a front roll, like a roll. After he scores, it was just the beautiful, it was just a beautiful jump into the corner. The entire Aviva Stadium goes absolutely bonkers for this. And then, Keith Earls gets his, 32nd try for his 100th test. And, Keith Earls, he's been around for a while, isn't he? So that was a really good moment for him. And everybody was really happy. Crowley was on the field to take this kick, and he actually gets this one right from the sideline. So that was a nice kick from him. So yeah, in the end of the day, 29 points to 10. The conundrums for both teams is the number 10 position. Who is it going to be? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later this week, maybe next week for the news. And thanks for watching. Have a good week. Cheers.